Coming up on this week's episode of Bruvcast.
Once the dinner's done and the kulfi ice cream comes out, yeah, my dad would munch that, and then obviously he'd be on some carb-heavy food. There's all these men, but there's no conversation left, and they're just sitting like this. House is still full of guests, yeah. Okay, yeah, bro. House is full of guests.
What, in his own house?
In his own house.
So wait, your dad is hosting
My dad is
right?
the host, yeah.
And he's fed them, he's entertained them,
Yes.
and now he's like, I'm peacing out right now.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Bruvcast. I'm Mick.
I'm Raj.
We've got a special guest with us today. I want to introduce Niral. Hey Niral.
What's up, man?
What's up, bro?
What's going on, man?
You good?
I'm good, man. It's privilege to be on this.
Welcome.
Nice, man. Well, we're glad you could join us, man. I'm glad to have you on, man. Thanks for taking the time. So let's give some context to our listeners in terms of how we know Niral. So I know Niral through... Niral is the brother of my wife's childhood school friend, really good school friend.
Bob, you know when you do that intro, it's just like Mara friend, no friend,
Yeah,
no
exactly.
dikro, no sister, no bhai, no ben, no dikro.
Trust me, when I was on the Sundance today, bro, I was thinking, how do I introduce this guy, bro? Man, what's the quickest way? Because when it comes to introducing people, I overthink things, yeah, and the moment is gone. So I think that was pretty smooth.
Anyway, go on. Sorry, bro, I interrupted you.
Why are you introducing my intro, bro? Yeah.
I'd say the quickest way might be your brother-in-law's.
That is true. Yeah. But you know what I was thinking, actually? You know how I think of you? I think of you as like, do you know how every movie, right, has a stunt double? Yeah. So obviously, you're the closest thing I have to Chirag, right? Because of your personality, and coincidentally, you're friends as well. Yeah. So it's like you're like his stunt double for me, like in the sense that of your not from looks and everything. You look better. Don't tell him I said that. But yeah. But welcome, man. Good to have you on.
Yeah, as I said, privileged to be on this.
Man,
I've been listening to a
good.
few episodes, and every time I hear an episode, it's like it's so relatable because I listen in the car with Kush, and I'm like, I want to jump in here. This is a story, and like, yeah, it's awesome what you guys have created. So yes,
Cheers, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Well, this is your opportunity to jump in with the story now. So you have the floor.
Exactly. What's been going on, bro?
So this week, bit of a big week actually. So I decided I'm going to take a career break and just go India for a few months. I'm going to go watch the World Cup and then just hang out for a bit, explore a bit, just see what happens.
Do you know what? This is exactly what I said because I had to brief Raj in terms of your story, and and I said to there's no story here, but it's your free spirit in the sense that, bro, if anyone needs tickets, or this guy will just up and leave and go and experience life, like he'll be working and he'll just go and experience life. He'll go to America for a few months and then experience something there, or like you just said, you're going to India and you're going to go to the World Cup, and obviously you're a big sports junkie. You love your sports, right? You love the Super Bowl, etc. And I was saying to Raj, like, if anyone needs like tickets or something, I always think of Niral. I was like, you're this guy is the plug to go. All legit, by the way, everyone. Yeah, all legit. But like,
what's Niral getting?
Exactly. Nice, man. Nice. So, how long you going for?
Probably 3.5 months or so.
Yeah.
I'll go towards the end of October, and then try and experience the craziness of cricket in India.
Whereabouts in India are you going?
Going Lucknow, Kolkata, and then just Gujarat, obviously the Gam.
Standard.
Standard. Quick bit of context of why it's been on my agenda, so to speak. Like last year, I was offered a job with the FCO there. I was so excited because it's been a dream of mine. Live abroad, work abroad, and unfortunately, India's made it more strict. You know how we have the OCI.
Mm-hmm.
So we can go and work there actually whenever we want. But if you want to work for a foreign government, they need a special permission. I thought it was a formality, and I kept chasing, and they're like, "Nah, bro, you're not getting in."
Oh,
yeah. So they were like, "You can't. Yeah, we're not going to give you permission to do that." And I chased everything. Like I went high up in the FCO. I tried absolutely everything, and it turns out it was just a political tit for tat. They didn't want. Yeah. So then that kind of set me back a bit. But then, as you said, Mick, I don't know if I'm a free spirit, but just you want to make things happen, innit? So then I was like, if I don't make it happen, something happen now, then it'll never happen. So that's actually why I was like, you know what, just take a career break and see what happens.
Nice, man, nice. I remember you saying yesterday that you had some topics you wanted to discuss as well that you were going to bring on. So fire away, man, fire away.
Yeah, it was kind of. I was thinking about it a little bit, and obviously you want to have like good fun as well, but also a couple of like deeper conversations. You know me, Mick.
Yeah.
I enjoy those very much as well. I guess it piggybacks off your last episode as well, actually, where you talked about cultural upbringing and stuff like that, and all those habits. And so I was just going to ask, how do you guys like identify yourselves? You know, people like, where you from? What do you answer with? Start off with that.
Raj?
Mick, man. Nick, this is a question for you to start, bro. You can see, it looks like you've already got an answer in your head.
Well, I'm not going to lie, I got distracted, didn't it?
Just for context, yeah, while Niral was doing his spiel, someone walked in behind him. And as soon as that happened, I could see Mick's face because Mick just gets distracted. And Mick just started laughing.
Look,
it could have been anyone or anything. The door opened and Mick lost it. So the moment that happened, Mick stopped listening. And then I was like, I know he's going to be out of this. So that's why I asked him to answer the question, because I was like, I know he's going to be like, oh, what is this? Who's it behind
you know what it is, though? It's those sounds that I'm hearing is basically the Mundir sign. You know when you get Mundir and someone's putting a Divo in the Mundir, and it's just stuff I used to wake up to. And you know those sounds? They're just so like ingrained in me, innit? Yeah, and I was just like, bro, imagine this. Yeah.
It's actually perfect time.
Exactly, because cultural. Exactly, you mentioned cultural, but my mind went. You know what was going in my mind is. I was just like watching this guy. No, man. Do you know what? Niral, repeat the question, man.
I knew it. I knew you weren't listening, bro.
So the question was, how do you see yourselves like culturally? Like when someone's like, where you're from, like, do you say British Asian? Do you give them more background than straight after, like, parents may have come from East Africa, etc.? Like, how do you?
I mean, do you know what? No, it makes sense. Do you know what? Actually, this is a good question, because this is one where I go round and round in circles as well, because Africa just never makes it into the conversation. Yeah. I think if someone asks me, I'm like, oh, I always say I was born here. Yeah. Like I'm white or something, right? I don't know why I don't ever lead with, I'm just a British Asian. So my parents are from India. It goes from, I was born here. And then I set them up for the question of, oh, but where are you originally from? Yeah. Like, where your parents from? And that's when I just say, okay, my parents we're from India, basically. Yeah, right. We're Indian. We're Gujarati. So, and then then it goes on from, and then I remember, oh yeah, but my mum was born in Africa, and then it's just like, for us it's normal, isn't it? The Africa thing doesn't even make it into the conversation. It always goes that same way. So I don't know. Culturally, we should just say tick that box, isn't it? British, Asian, Indian, isn't it, in brackets? But yeah, I mean, I think, and that's another thing, right? I always say this to Raj. I feel like other cultures, Asian cultures, are really proud, like especially Punjabis and Sikhs. Like, whenever they're, they may be from here, but if they're talking to each other, they're talking to each other in native tongue. Whereas I feel like anyone from an Indian culture or Gujarati, right, born here, they're always talking to each other in English. They would never speak to each other. Like me and you would never speak on the train in a full-blown conversation in Gujarati. So I don't know. I just feel like maybe, I don't know, are we not as proud? Or is it the fact that, like Gujarati is such a softly spoken language kind of thing, and if we were to speak it, we only speak it in code, innit? Yeah, just like, a few little bits here and there. So I don't know. But culturally, I don't know how, from my perspective, right? I mean, my kids, I swear, like if you ask them, like, when I speak to my kids in Gujarati, they're like, Daddy, stop speaking Indian. Yeah, they think they're white. Do you understand what I mean? Because it is in their mind. They don't say it. Yeah, but I feel that that's the thing. We don't speak enough Gujarati at home. Like when my mum and dad come here, we'll probably speak it. They understand it because my parents and Nish's parents speak to them in Gujarati, right? But I don't know. It's just one of those things where they understand it, but they don't want to speak it. So culturally, I don't know. It's a bit of a taboo, man. I can't. Now I'll probably say I'm more proud to say, oh, I'm Gujarati. Not that I wasn't proud before, but it was never a thing. It was always like, I'm British Asian. So, Raj?
I normally, when someone asks me that question, I will tell them the whole history. So I go into like, parents were in East Africa. Mom was born and raised in Kenya, Nairobi. Dad was born in India, but raised in Mombasa. So yeah, that's kind of how I like explain where I'm from. But I would say that I feel at home or comfortable in any one of those places. So obviously in the UK, I feel comfortable and I feel at home. I feel at home when I'm in Kenya. I feel at home when I'm in India. I mean, I think this is also one of the reasons why I've really liked traveling and stuff, because it helps me just connect to other parts of the world. And I think if you've been to India, and you've seen like your own villages and like where you're really from, I don't know. To me, it was nice to just kind of understand and just like dissect what went on with that generation, like the guts that they had to have to basically be like, yeah, you know what? There's not much here for the rest of our kids and their kids. So let's just bounce, leaving a tiny little gum in Gujarat and then going to East Africa and then setting up from scratch, right? Obviously they went in like a big group and a big family, but essentially you're leaving your country and then doing it again to come to the UK. So I don't know if I would have the guts to do that. Like, you know, once I have a family, just making that decision to be like, oh, well, nah, I don't really see enough opportunity. And maybe it's different, right? Maybe we have so much opportunity in this country, and like, you know, we're very privileged to have the opportunities to do things and have the lives that we have. And maybe they saw that it wasn't going that way in India, and certainly not in East Africa after what was going on in Uganda. Like, people were getting scared and thinking that it would happen in Kenya as well. So that's normally what I do. I like kind of tell the whole
family.
I give them a history lesson, and then by the end of it, they're like, "I'm not going to ask this guy any more questions, man. This guy's a time vacuum." But yeah, that's how I respond. How about you? How do you respond, Niral?
Before, it was, as Mick said, it was a bit of a tick box exercise. Like, I'm British and then British Asian, or yeah, just maybe say Indian. But I think, especially as I've got older, about 10 years ago, I went to Uganda, saw my mum's primary school and stuff like that. And I think that was a big turning point for me. I was like, you know what? There's so much more to our background than just, you know, growing up in England. So now I make it a point to say, yes, British Indian, but also got background from East Africa. And maybe don't go as much detail as you, Rod, but I make sure, they know that whole history is there. And I think one of the reasons it's important is, you know, once we lose a bit of culture, I think we're never getting that back. So once kids, or whatever it is, let's say a name, for example, as soon as we don't have a relatively Indian name for kids, I think that's gone forever, which is absolutely fine for, you know, if that's what the parents would like, of course. But just for me, I think as I've got older, I really felt a bit more strongly about, you know what, it's on us to make sure our culture, of course, we're proud to be British, but that doesn't mean we also can't be proud to be Indian or have the East African Indian roots, etc., and make sure that gets passed on as well. That's why I think it's such a complex subject as well, because how do we entwine British culture and the other aspects of the culture we grew up with? So
no, it's true.
Yeah, that's why I find it a fascinating
I think,
just to see how others also see it.
And you know, you mentioned that you went to your mum's school, and that made you obviously think, because there's more to our history and background as individuals, right? As being, you know, Indian, we're just not British Indian, right? It's probably because you built up a connection as well, right? Whereas I feel I don't have any connection to as much connection to Africa, because I feel like I've been to India so many times, and it's always dad's side of the family kind of thing, right? Whereas if I, obviously I've never been to Africa, to be fair. And I was like, my mum grew up in Tanzania, right? So they always talk about it, but it's like you only scratch the surface and it's the same story over and over again. But there's more to it, right? Because like Raj said, they had a bit of a journey from, Africa to India to here. So it's like actually, and then also, you grow up, I'd say recently, but I'd say probably in my early 20s or late teens did I realize that some of the words I was using was Swahili, not Gujarati. Yeah. Like, Sani and Bainu and, all that kind of stuff, right? I didn't even know that, whereas then I was like, oh, okay, wow. So there's more to it, but I don't know why, but I don't feel that connection to it because it's not talked about enough. And you're right. So that goes back to your point about you will lose connection. Once you've lost that culture and you lost that connection in terms of if you don't keep up everything. So if you lose that connection.
Yeah. So the language thing is something we spoke about that in like one of our earlier episodes about like how there's that difference between Gujarati depending on whether your parents have migrated from Kenya or they've come straight from India, and that is another thing that I think does have I don't know, it influences you, influenced my upbringing as well. Also, I feel like I can connect with other people from Kenya and I can connect with people that are from India as well, just because whether you like it or not, just I think the way that you're saying it, Niral, is more explicit ways of raising kids and raising a family with those values and with those cultures ingrained, right? But I think there's also implicit ways that it's done by behaviors and mannerisms and something, right? Small words that are said here and there, whether it's work ethic, whether it's the way that you, respect one another, the way that you carry yourself. Those things are like, I don't know, I think those are implicit within the ways that we've brought up, and they are heavily influenced by our cultures, whether that's India or whether that's East Africa. So I think for our parents' generation, they had a little bit more likelihood that the culture was going to get passed down just because it was fresh, right? They were first here and it's going to kind of continue. Whereas for us, it's going to be harder because we don't have that. It's not as vibrant as it was, right? We have to kind of hold on to what we have and hold on to what we remember. The classic example to me is Diwali, right? Every Diwali we have, we get together with my cousins and we do all of the havan and everything that, all the ceremony and everything that we've been doing for years. Every single year, that ceremony gets shorter and shorter and shorter. I remember when I was really young, my babuji used to do it. And it used to be like this big ordeal. And there was this long puja. There was so many different like steps that were taken to it. And like last year, it was just like 3 steps. Okay, oh yeah, but the artikoro must have it. And then like they probably remember a few bits and pieces. Like there's one step. And every single family is different, right? Like if I explain how we do it, it's going to be completely different to how you guys do it. But there's this one thing where you get a pin and you nail the pin into a piece of wood. And that's I don't know what the significance is. I think I ask every year and I always forget. But that's one thing that obviously it's such a, I don't know, it's like an obvious action that you're probably not going to forget, right? You won't forget that I've told you that we do that at Diwali. So that's constant. That never goes away. But other small bits and pieces disappear. Like another constant one for us is we have this thing where we throw wara. So, and I don't know if you guys do this, but you need to tell me if you do. So basically, right, you get vara and you do a little puja with them. This is on Nived, right? So this comes just before Diwali. And you take 4 vara, you go outside and you find a road that has like a crossroads. And then you stand with ideally 4 people. Each person stands in that circle facing each other. You do a circle of water around all of you, and then you throw that vara backwards. and then you walk back inside. And that's like a constant thing. No one, apparently it's to ward off evil spirits, okay? But those small bits have stayed, but the ceremony itself and everything around that is streamlined now. And every year we like record it to see what happens.
It reminds me a bit of like marriage ceremonies now. You know, the marriage is the last one. Do you want express service? You want full, you know, and it's like, it's hard to know now what actually is the ceremony. Oh, you know, was passed down.
Yeah.
No lie, the ceremony thing, that is true, because at my sister-in-law's wedding, right, this year, you know, back in the day when you're watching videos, you have to people doing the kanya then have to actually wash the groom's feet, right? In this case, it was literally a spoon of milk, done. Done. No contact, bro. It was quick, man. You're right. So you're right. It's just like, you know, if it's express it, and like you said earlier,
thank you.
It's true. Even like when we do Danteras, right, just close to that time when you wash all the coins, and the coin is getting shorter and shorter every year. Like I remember how long it used to be, and because I remember my legs, my dad used to make me sit there, and you know, you have your crossed legs, and he like, it's just like, you know, silence, and he's doing it, and then it's like, I remember how much my legs used to ache, but you know that is ingrained in your head that, you know what, it's going to be a long one. But then now it's like quick, man, quick. I don't know, it just gets shorter and shorter. I don't know, and I don't know if that's because the older statesmen, like obviously my bar's not around anymore, so have we lost certain things? Because obviously, as much as my dad's memory is great, you know, he's not going to remember everything, even if he did it for 10 years, with her around. You're still going to rely on that person to tell you, you know, It's just, I don't know, man. You just lose it, you know, you just lose, you lose.
It's so jokes. Every Diwali is hilarious because not everyone can remember bits of it, but no one can remember the entire thing. So they like my mum, my dad, my gaga, olo, na pachi, na apela, na pachi, olo na karai, pachi, Well, and then we're just all having jokes. That's become like the recurring joke every year now. It's just like that.
By the time you do it, but you know, when you start doing it every year, you know what you're going to do? You're going to go out and just nail something to a brick wall and be like, G, we're done. It's finished.
That reminds me of one of your earlier episodes where you're talking about, again, the marriage ceremony and how vidis, whatever, the elder aunties and everything, everyone's got their own opinion on, you know, how could I know? And then it's just, you know, then how do you know what's right? And
but that's the standard though, isn't it? Because it is, whilst we're like the same religion, the same culture, there's so much nuance in each household and each family. Like you'll have random things that only, all of that, and it's like, what's going on over here? Bruv, that's where the beef starts, you know that? That's where it starts. Because it's like, but hold on, we tried, because, you know, our parents were like, I want you to marry, ideally would like you to marry someone from the same religion or from the same culture. Like, that's what we've always been told, right, growing up. But then you do that and you're like, hold on, this is more different than it was if I was marrying someone from a completely different religion, right? So that's another thing that's just true. The culture, right? Like, how does that like the culture clash even within the same, what you would expect, the same culture?
Yeah. Exactly, going back to the Bodhi Furry stuff, innit? So Raj basically, you know how we have in Patel Gujarati, you have certain dialect, and then Raj, and when Raj used to speak Gujarati, I was like, what the fuck is this? And he used to think, why are these guys adding more masala to their speech?
You do, right? You got to add extra masalas, man.
Then I realized,
I'm not gonna lie, during some of the episodes when you do say some words in Gujarati, I asked my wife, I was like, do you know what that means? Like, I do think, some of the words are extra masala or something going on. But,
definitely, that's Mick, man. Why you gotta just keep it simple, man? Why you gotta do why can't you say gaine? Why you gotta say gasu?
I don't know, man. I don't know what it is. That's probably gum, bloody dialect, bro. 27 gums, isn't it?
Hey, why? So wait, hold on. You know, in Gujarat, right? They have different gams. Like, ame to 6 gam na, ame to 27, right? What is that number? Is that like your postcode? What's the
I
number?
have no idea,
What's the
man.
number mean?
I have no idea, bro. Yeah? Do you know what? I'm the wrong person to ask. Niral, do you know?
I could be very wrong. I thought, like Churgan, for example, I thought that was like an area and then it's made up of 6 villages, but that I'm sure is
6 pillars, bro.
Could be.
6 pillars of the highest,
Yeah.
of the high, whatever it is, but you know what I mean, isn't it? Yeah, it's the Bloods and the Crips, man.
Is there beef between
That's
the gums?
I
there
think
beef
it used
between
to be,
the guys?
no, there's no beef. I think it used to be kind of like how to separate.
Caste system.
Yeah. Hierarchy.
I was going to say, that's their version of like postcode beef, innit? Like, you can't marry, you can't.
That's what it used to be, innit? Literally. So
Don't go south of the river kind of situation.
yeah, exactly. So
That's another conversation itself, how, north and south divide. North would never move south.
never move north, and when south goes north, they get nosebleed. Yeah, man. Yeah, no, it's true. Hey, speaking about culture, though, right? I want to actually bring something up as well. So when you have like guests at your house back in the day, but why is it that it's such a big thing?
Here we go.
Yeah, like obviously, I've always talked about the cleaning and stuff that happens there, but why is it that when the guests come, the men only sit in the living room, and they're just cracking jokes or whatever, and obviously the dad who's the host would get this bottle of Chivas Regal out or the swing whiskey. But remember swing whiskey? I don't know if you remember swing whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I remember Chivas, the silver case, isn't it?
Silver case. So get that out, and then they'll smash that basically, and then you got the kids who just run around like junglies around up and down the house, and then you got all the mums, like in the kitchen, cooking, bro. And at no point ever would the wives join the husbands in the living room, bro. Yeah, it's always divided, always divided. And then there's always a structural way. Kids eat first, then the men, and then the women eat, and then the men after the men have eaten, they go back. Then the women eat. And then the women also clean as well, isn't it? Yeah, it's so fucked up. It's
so messed up, bro.
It's basically what you're doing is it's basically what you're actually saying is all the wives are basically saying, why don't you and your husbands come over, and we'll collectively serve our husbands and pick up after them, for a good few hours. And then we'll clean up as well, and then you can go home. Literally, that's what it is.
Yeah. That is what it is, man. And you know what? It's so ingrained in like my dad's generation that there's no thought. Oh, I look, I want to masala dosa, manawach. No, bruv. Manawa nothing, bruv. You're ordering right now.
It's true. So,
but that's what it is, though, isn't it?
Man, it is so true, man. It's like.
And like I think growing up we started to challenge that, at least within the household and stuff, right? Like because you'd see it on a day-to-day basis, like you're describing it as in like when you have guests, but you'd see that same pattern of behavior daily, right? So I think over time that changed, but it still happens. That is still for the format what you've described is still the same today, right? Like if you're having guests over. It still follows basically that kind of a format, which is messed up, man. I think we need to instigate some change, Mick. How would you do it?
I don't know, man, because I see myself doing like obviously I help when we have people over. I do help, but I can see it's like a slow like you just if there's another obviously male there, it's like automatically you start making your way back to the couch as if you're like like it's second nature. Yesterday. Prime example.
Is it like?
It's like a reflex.
Yeah, guess yesterday.
Yeah,
right?
I guess yesterday, and then I started to make my way, and then actually I was like, no, something doesn't feel right about this. So then I went to the couch, didn't sit down, and I walked back to the sink. Yeah, and the missus and obviously had been cooking all day, so the missus and her friend were having a chat while they were just finishing dinner. So it was a change actually because me and our friend's husband basically he was standing next to me and we were just having a chat while I was cleaning the bloody dishes and stuff in it, but that whole that 10 seconds of when I finished, we went put our plates in, and I walked back. Yeah, it's like I was doing a full circle of my whole kitchen, bro. Yeah, I walked back to the couch, and then I was like, nah, I need to clean up with it. Walk back, and he's following me, bro. He's following me. Anyway, yeah. So then we were just having a chat, and then I was like, do you know the whole thing of when the night is over? So I don't know if you ever go through these things yet. When someone's coming over, you're excited because it's just going to be a chill day. You've got food sorted, everything's sorted, house is clean, kids are sorted. And then they come over and your energy is so high at the peak of it when they first come, right? Then you have, so you're chatting, you have so much to conversate about, right? Especially when you've got kids and you had that adult conversation for a while. So when you have your friends come over, it's like that. Then you have that middle, I always think, then you have that middle patch where you're like, it's simmering down slowly. And then, bro, after dinner and after dessert, it's like you're sitting on the couch and you've exhausted all conversation. Energy is at a complete low, yeah? And it's probably, subliminally, innit? It's like, okay, now it's time for me to go to sleep and for you to leave. But these days, yeah, exactly, right? And that happens, sometimes I'm like, bro, I'm on the couch, yeah? And my conversation just starts to slur, basically. My speech starts to slur in the sense that I haven't had a drink or anything, but it's just like me being lethargic, yeah? In most cases these days, our generation, I feel like they're always clock watching when it comes to after dinner because you don't want to overstay. You want to be, as much as you want to be hosted, you're always clock watching. You don't want to overstay. Does that make sense? Yeah? Or,
Yeah, bro.
So then I feel like our generation bounced in an orderly manner. My dad's generation was joke. I don't know if your dad, but it was jokes. Yeah, check this. So my dad, once the dinner's done and the dal and the kulfi ice cream comes out, yeah, my dad would munch that, and then obviously he'd be on some carb heavy food, yeah, shop the next day. You could see that when the conversation, there's all these men, but there's no conversation left, and they're just sitting like this, yeah, bro. My dad would either be like, house is still full of guests, yeah. Okay, though, sweet. Yeah, bro.
What, in his own house?
In his own
house,
yeah,
bro.
He's so deep. Yeah. I mean, look at this, bro. It's basically saying you lot chill, and
so wait, your dad is hosting
my dad
right?
is the host, yeah.
And he's fed them, he's entertained them, yes. And now he's like, and
it depends who exactly. But it depends who that is a bit deep, isn't it? So it depends who he does that to, yeah. It's like it depends. But if it's anyone else,
the criteria.
If it's anyone else, yeah, then it's like he'll just fall asleep on the couch. It's like knocking out.
Hey, bruv, you've done that to me, yeah?
I've done that to you. But that's the thing, you just knock out, and then they'll be like, okay, John, and everyone else is like, okay,
That's a great way to just get people to clock that. Okay,
let's go. Yeah, exactly. Time's up. You got to go.
But what you said about like the that generation is different, right? They don't they didn't clock watch, bruv. It's true. Because I used to remember, yeah. And then like, you'd have guests over and then mum sometimes would get tired, right? Like she'd be like, obviously, man, she's cooking, she's cleaning, she's doing basically everything, right? And then she'd be like, bruv, yeah? And she gets so wound up. And then, bruv, you know what? This is what will happen, right? The people will jot, right? Basically means stick. They'll stick around. They don't go nowhere. And then they'll just like, you make all the signals. Nah, nothing. No reaction, bro. No response. Man's want to talk about, politics or something, yeah? Okay, and then, right, this is it. If they've come from a long drive, right? If they've come from out of town or something, then they need chai before they go back. But just in case, they might fall asleep on the wheel, innit? So then you got to make chai, right? So then they have chai, and then that adds another half an hour to it. And then the keys come out. So it's like, oh yeah, starting to make the signal, all right, they're gonna go. And then they get up, Jalo. Okay. Bruv, you then spend another hour in the doorway and no one goes anywhere. And it's just like, Get out, man. Just go. That's why, bruv, yeah? Your dad, bruv, that is genius.
Look, the thing is, you said the most annoying thing about that whole process is the doorway. The people when you're standing in the doorway, because the kids have to come and say bye, and I used to hate it. Yeah, they shouldn't say bye and bounce, innit? Then it's like then there's this thing, right? When they leave, so there's most people just stand by the door, innit? And the whole family is standing by the door. Yeah, but it's like
you gotta go outside, bro. No, you gotta go outside.
Sometimes people walk people to the car. Yesterday, I heard that people walk others to the car. Yeah, and then you have a conversation at the car, right? And then you walk back. Then you stand at your doorstep, the whole family, bro, like you're some Brady Bunch.
Yeah, you can't close the door. No. You can't close the door until their car has driven off. I got told off so many times. I was like, what? They're gone, man. They ain't coming back. What, you think they're gonna forget something or need to go to the toilet? Let them go, man. I ain't got to go work tomorrow. I got to do my sums. I got homework to do.
That's the thing. Like, then you're like, I just think to myself, when you're at the door. So what happens these days is when they're at the door, I'm like, well, they can't even see me, so I might as well chip. Yeah, so the missus and the two kids standing by the door, just like
as long as someone's there.
Someone's making representation, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what it is, man. Is that how it was for you, Niral? Like, what was your situation when you had guests over? Like, how do you like relate to those things?
I remember like especially when you were kids, there was 5 of us. We just did our own thing, right? But then you're forced to come into the sitting room, and mingle. But then at that age, you're like shy, you're not really talking, so it's just all. Yeah, I think that was a big thing for us, like kind of being forced into these social situations.
They try to talk to you and make conversation with you, and get lo moto tegyo. Start pinching your cheeks and stuff. Bare questions, but you know what it is, yeah? It's one of those situations where it's just questions, but no registering of your answers. It's just questions to pass the time. Mick does this sometimes. Bare questions, bro. Yeah, he's just like, let me just keep firing the question because that means I don't have to speak.
It's actually a good tactic.
It's genius. It's genius.
You know what? I don't know if you guys ever had this, yeah, but I never used to come down initially when someone would come, right? Fucking dumb fuck, yeah. So I never used to come down. So then my dad would be like, he would call me because I was shy and I was like, I just didn't want to. And then everyone just looks at you, innit? When you walk into the sitting room, like you said, yeah, everyone stares at you, right? Even now, even to this day, it's like this weird thing where when someone's at the house and I go over to my parents' house, someone's there, they're all sitting around the couch, yeah, and it's like, when you walk in, it's just all the conversations start, and they're like, oh, how, and you're having conversation with 5 people at the same time. Everyone wants a piece of you. I remember my dad used to get so annoyed, yeah, when he'd be like, when someone comes and the doorbell rings, it doesn't matter who it is, even if it's a postman, you come down. Even if it's not for you, you come down. Yeah, and I used to get in trouble in front of everyone all the time, even the guests. Like if I didn't come down, because it's like I'm disrespecting my dad's authority in the house, isn't it? If that makes sense, right? Because you're not he had to ask me. The fact that he had to ask me once, apparently, yeah, that was to come down. It was mad, man. And then obviously, like after you say hello to everyone, and then they ask you the questions, and like you said, what are you studying? What year are you in? What are you studying? Oh, that's very interesting.
But you know what? I still have that, what you described. And I don't know whether this is because I used to be in a similar situation where I used to always be told, if someone comes to the house, you have to come downstairs. You got to drop whatever. And, if someone, like, if I'm up here or if I'm doing something at home now and we have, like, someone comes into the house, I will go downstairs. And I don't know if that's just, like, because of, like, it's a cultural thing. Like, you should, if someone's coming to your house, the entire family needs to go and sit with that person. Right, it's not good enough to just have one person there. You got to have all the mans sitting with them and making sure that they're okay and greeting them and all of it. I don't know. Maybe that is just the way that it should be. I don't know.
Yeah, man.
I have no idea, bro.
It's a weird one.
I think it also helps us in hindsight. It gets us like socially involved.
It's true.
And actually help develop us. But at the time, it's just like, no, we just want to play and do our own thing.
Well, you know what? I don't know if you guys ever had this, yeah? Niral just mentioned something like the whole. Are you saying Niral? So are you saying the fact that us coming down is to get us involved socially? Is that what you're saying? Like get us? No, I'm just. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah,
From
yeah.
in my household, it was to make a head count to make sure, yeah, that if anything goes wrong or anyone needs any serving of drinks or something, yeah, man's there. So my dad, yeah, if someone wanted something, he'll call me from upstairs, no, yeah, and be like, Uncle mate glass and ice and a coke layout, yeah, or he'll be like.
He'll call you from upstairs.
Yeah.
He'll call you from upstairs to make you go down and into the sitting room, get the order, and then go to the kitchen and get it.
You go to the kitchen, yeah, and then it'll be like, and then it will be like, this uncle wants wine. Yeah, I was like, okay, fair. And he'll be like, okay, go find the. Oh no, my dad's already got the wine, but he can't find the bottle opener, and because he can't find it, and he doesn't want to miss out on the conversation, it's like. Jaleo to bottle opener or wine opener. I was like, okay. But I don't know where half the stuff is, yeah, because my dad's so unorganized sometimes, right? So my mum's obviously the mum's always putting stuff in a way where it's easily reachable. So if I go back to him, and I was under pressure, bro. If I go back to him with a negative, yeah, empty-handed, yeah, and he'll be like. Mom, then it'll be like, ask your mum, yeah? Ask your mum where it is, yeah? And then you go ask my mum. And if mum don't know, bruv, and you go back again empty-handed, yeah? That's it, it's over, it's finished, bruv, yeah? You're going to get that verbal abuse, bruv, yeah? And then it'll be out to his guests, kasu na mali. Kaya na mali, bruv, yeah?
Kasu. There's the kasu.
Bro, I spent too much time in the gun, bro. But jokes. But yeah, it's like if you go back with a nick, and then, bro, you know what the thing was? You know when the worst thing is that fair enough. It goes to another level when you learn how to drive because, and then it's like they can be even dads can be even more complacent because it's like if I don't have the wine or whatever, don't worry. If we need it, then I'll just send him to go get it. So, I get called from upstairs, yeah, when I'm even now, bro. If I go to a thing, if we have a family gathering at our house, yeah. My dad would be like, Leoto, smart Martin. I'm like, and you know what? And I'm like, I just give him the blankest look, yeah. And I'm like, why did I come? And then the worst thing is when you get sent again, over and over again, isn't it? Yeah, it's just mad, man. That's what I used to think he was doing. You know, when he's making sure that the gopher is in, in line and in attention, bro.
Also, last week when I see Krish's friends talking about the cultural differences, it's a pet peeve. You know, when you go in, we're just used to you have to take shoes off, right? As you enter the house, take the shoes off somewhere, especially if you're going upstairs, carpeted areas. It was just willy-nilly everywhere, bedrooms, bathrooms, and I was like, it's just so different, isn't it, when you go into that sort of.
So you're saying that they were wearing shoes everywhere?
Yeah.
So someone came to your house and they were wearing shoes?
No, we went to their house, but then we sort of took our shoes off because we thought it's customary. But then you're like, I'm basically just walking around in their filth.
True. They had their trainers on and stuff.
Yeah, it makes sense. I find that strange as well. I just find it's just the right thing to do, innit? Just take your shoes off, innit? But I feel like it depends, innit? We had someone come over. You know what they asked? Do you think it's a stupid question for someone to ask, shall I take my shoes off?
I don't think it's a stupid question.
Yeah? So you don't think so, yeah?
I think you should just do it and then no, I think you should do it and then if they don't want you to take them off, then don't take them off, innit?
But why? Why would someone not want you to take your shoes off? Like how would no, keep them on.
Bob, you never know.
Well, you got phobia of feet.
No, because because let me give you an example where you might keep them on. Let's say you're having a barbecue and let's say like you're going straight through the house and going straight outside. You're not going to do this whole thing. Okay, wait, let me take my shoes off. Then I walk inside, tip, 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 through the kitchen, through everything, and put my shoes back on the other side. Am I going to do that? No, bro. Just go through because as a host, I've expected that people are going to come straight through and go straight out, right? So it depends on it's contextual. It depends on the scenario, bro.
Yeah, it's true.
And not every situation. I think your instinct should be. That's also the same if you're like, let's say, you're on the bus, okay, or you're on the train. And someone who is struggling or is elderly or is pregnant comes on, okay? I don't ask. I just get up. and then they say, oh, and okay, then if they don't want to, if they're getting off at the next stop, then it's fine. If you ask, it makes the other person feel like they have to. I don't know. Maybe it makes them feel bad about it. Oh, no, I'm making this person get out the seat. To make it easier, just be like, no.
Just be assertive and authoritative, innit? You know what I was going to say? I was about to say, I thought...
Just take the first move, innit?
When you mentioned the bus or the train, I thought, does this guy take his shoes off when he's getting on the bus?
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like...
When I'm on the bus here, bruv, my socks are out. I don't care, bruv.
Oh, man.
I thought the same thing. I was like, where's this going?
Sliding, cleaning the bus with my socks, bruv.
Did you ever share the struggle, find the funny?
Yeah. When you told me about that, that's a great section. So I've started to do you guys go yoga?
Yoga?
Or have you done?
I was before baby. It's been difficult since.
So I've started to make it more in a routine. Every Monday I go to a class nearby, a really good class as well. I don't know. Can I shout them out?
Yeah, man. Go for it.
Independent.
Shout them out, man. It's all good.
Yeah. I don't want to do the Facebook thing. I don't want to shout out.
I shout everyone.
Global conglomerates.
Yeah, mixed habit.
But yeah, called Stretchy Susie's, really good yoga studio. So anyway, I started to go every Monday. And you know when you're just in a good environment, it's a stretching class, you're fully relaxed, and then the dreaded thing happens, you feel like a massive fart brewing, basically. Right. But you know it's going to be so good because it's one of the side effects of your body being relaxed. And yeah, just doing it. You know you can't do it. But then it's also like your brain plays these tricks on you, like, oh, maybe if I just try and let it quietly slide out and all that. So then you're not even focusing on the yoga anymore. You're just fully focused on how do I bypass this situation. And I was like, that's got to be something where, you know, I'm sure other people, in the class must feel or go through as well. Wondering if you guys had ever...
Look, man, probably not in a yoga class, but I'm telling you, when you think it's a quiet one and it's a loud one, and then you have to start looking around.
Oh, that's the worst. Yeah.
The worst is when you do that when you have your headphones on. You're like trying to.
Oh yeah.
You got noise cancelling, so you think
you got to do the old take the headphone out in it and just make sure that no one can hear it and check.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I can't pinpoint it, but I know that, you know, when you're at work, I'm sure at work, it's like, and also when you have, you know, those chairs that you have these days, they're not solid, innit? They have holes in them. The economic chairs basically that you have. So, bro, it is one of those things. But you know what? I think it's definitely happened, but I don't know if anyone's ever. And to be fair, even if it did, you would just turn a blind eye to it, would you not? Do you think if it did?
So if you're in the office, you're in a meeting room, and then you're having a conversation about something, I'll be like, oh yeah, this is so have you met your goals for this year? And you're having like a proper in-depth discussion, and then some husmog just starts farting, bro.
Oh yeah.
What would you do in that situation? Do you acknowledge it? Or do you just carry on talking about your KRs?
Mo, I'll smirk and I'll carry on. I'll have a smirk on my face. Trying to fight the laughter, isn't it? That's it. I tell you what.
I was gonna say, I've been in that situation. I'm a child at heart, so like I just start laughing. I can't keep the laughter. It's like it's such a simple thing, but it's so like funny at the same time.
It's the situation that you're in as well, right? Because you're having this when
you know you're going to laugh, isn't it?
Exactly. The more serious it is.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
And it's just like, you know, you could be in the most serious place ever, and then it happens, and that's it. Anything like that will just trigger me to lose my shit, man. But I'll tell you what, literally, really recently, I was on a work call, and you know, there's always, like, we were in the office, so the people that were in the office joined this call from the same meeting room, right? And then we had the first person that joined remotely. You know, we had a bit of a, just said hello to that person. And then that person was like, oh, I'm just going to go on mute now, right? Because no one else had joined. So there's only one person muted. This guy who joined remotely, let off the biggest fart ever. And then his sound effects after were like, oh, and he was like, and then he realized that he was not on mute, and he was just like, and then he was like, hello, Hello. And he was like, yeah, we can hear you, Kyle. What do you do? What do you do, man? It's just like, I mean, I had to leave.
You can't do anything.
I had to leave the
Like,
room.
what were you? Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
you can't acknowledge it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, in that situation, I don't think you could acknowledge it. It would just make even more.
Exactly. Considering there's other people in the room, but yeah, I mean that was something recently that I went through that was relatable to what you were saying. Roger, what are you?
Do I have a relatable story to that, bro? That's the daily situation for me, bro. I'm a very gassy person, man. But I don't know, bro. I just feel like I get it from my dad. My dad doesn't care where he is or who he's with, bro. Yeah, right? Yeah. And you could be out somewhere, right? And you could be, with the in-laws, for example. My in-laws are visiting right now. And I see it in his face, bro. I see it. I'm like, don't do it. Do not do it. Right. And you know what it is? You know what the telltale sign is, right? There's a little, like one of his lips goes up slightly, and the standard, bro, yeah, one arm to like leverage, bro, leverage. And it's like, it's coming. I'm like, fuck.
Clean pass, isn't it?
Bro, clean. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's that generation, bro. They didn't care, man. It's like, nah, if better out than in, innit?
Yeah.
This is it, bro. I think this is a recurring theme now, man. It's 3 weeks running, bro. This is this topic has floated its way back into
floated its way back in, bro.
Comes good fun there as well.
Cool, man. Nice. I think we're. What do you think? I think we're there, man.
Yeah, I think we're done. Thank you, Niral, for being such a great guest. Thanks for joining. Thank you for your questions. It's awesome to have you here. And also, the fact that you've listened to the episodes and then kind of have some thoughts and ideas and wanted to share that. Yeah, it's really great. So I really appreciate hearing the perspectives.
It's awesome to be on. As I said, they're so relatable, all the episodes. They really are. Yeah, big up yourselves. Like, it's not an easy thing it's one thing having an idea to do something like this, but to actually make it happen. And so big kudos to you guys. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Cheers, man.
Any shout outs, Mick, do you have this week?
Do I have any shout outs?
I got a couple.
Yeah, go for it, man. Go for it.
Okay, so we've had a bunch of people shouting us out. So I want to just kind of shouting us out and giving us some feedback. So shout out to Rahil, shout out to Malwi, shout out to Hasiga. Like, thank you so much for all the feedback that's been coming in. Loads of topics that you want us to dive into and things you want us to discuss. So stay tuned; those are coming. And please continue to give that feedback to us, whether that's through DMs, through stories, through our anonymous forums that we have. Keep listening, keep sharing. I think from now on, what we should do, Mick, at the end of our episodes is our tagline, which we've come up with, but I don't think we've actually baked it into the episodes yet, which is share the struggle, find the funny. Yeah. So that's how we're going to end each episode. Niral, any shout outs that you wanted to give? I think you gave one. Is there any other ones?
My mummy, my daddy. No.
Cool, man.
See you later, people. Share the struggle, find the funny.
Thank you, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.